I'm fine. Good evening from the Levy Center in Santa Clara. It's time for Bronco basketball and the Lenardi's Markets pregame show. Santa Clara looks to get back on the winning track as they host Portland State tonight out of the Big Sky Conference. I'm Anthony Passarelli. My partner Henry Caruso is away tonight as the Broncos come in with a record of 8-3. They lost Saturday, snapping a 5-game winning streak. They went down to their crosstown rivals San Jose State, though 25 points for fifth-year Bronco senior guard Keyshawn Justice, but the Spartans stormed back with a 46-point second half for the win. Tonight's opponents, Portland State, 5-5 under second-year head coach Jace Coburn. 2 wins already this year over Oregon State, and they're led by junior guard Jarrell Satterfield with a team best 16 points per game. We'll have the starters and the keys to the game along with the opening tip. It's Santa Clara and Portland State. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
DevCon Construction. You're listening to Santa Clara Broncos basketball on AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back. We'll get you the starting lineups here in just a second as we're ready to get this underway. Portland State wearing their green uniforms, winning the tip and moving left to right in front of us. Good to have you with us tonight as it's the Broncos and the Portland State Vikings. A pass whipped out top where it's run down by Jarrell Satterfield. He's the leading scorer. It's a junior guard from Chicago. Left side of the floor, Hunter Woods. Throwing center of the floor, that's Satterfield. His jumper is on the rim and no good, and it's run down by Keyshawn Justice for Santa Clara. The Broncos will get the keys for you coming up in just a little bit here as we hit right at the top. 7:05 tip, and not a second later. We are scoreless as the Broncos try and get back on the winning track here. Left sideline, Keyshawn Justice, a three ball. That is missed. Tipped and grabbed by Jaden Bediako out to Carlos Stewart. He'll miss off the back iron, and high for the rebound is Satterfield. Quickly front court. This is Cameron Parker. Left side of the floor, a triple, and Hunter Woods knocks it down. Woods is the 6'6" junior from Pasadena, and we have an offensive foul in the backcourt. as Santa Clara unable to get out of that pressure. And Portland State leads it by a score of 3-0. Tonight's starters delivered by Scott's Seafood and Chowder House, serving only the best, most sustainable seafood. The Bronco foul was on Carlos Stewart. And the Broncos will have Stewart, Justice, Pajimski, Bediako, and Brown. Meanwhile, it's Satterfield, Cameron Parker, and Michael Starks in the backcourt, Hunter Woods, and Jacob Iman in the front court. Right side of the floor, this is Woods hopping into the paint, tried to drop it off. Diving to the deck is Pajimski. Here come the Broncos front court. It's Parker Brown driving to the basket, loses the handle on it. It's poked back the other way, and here come the Vikings. It's Cameron Parker driving, throwing to the right wing. It's a Woods three, and it's good. And Hunter Woods has himself 6 points to start this one. And this is a Portland State team that gets up and down the floor. 81 points per game, is 29th in the country as Pajemski driving, leaves it short. And here comes Portland State back the other way. Cameron Parker, there's a corner three from Satterfield, and that one is good. And Herb Sendek will get a timeout. 9-0 run to start on three-pointers for Portland State. And it's a 30-second timeout. And we will keep it here and tell you about the keys to the game. Brought to you by University Credit Union. Broncos bank with their brain with University Credit Union. And so far, the key to this game, which is not in our original list, is defending the three-point line. One of them is control penetration. This is a Portland State team that can spread out the floor and then use their sterling guard play to go one-on-one against you. And then it's defend without fouling and then take care of the ball. So the Broncos have had some turnover difficulties, not the last game so much in the loss to San Jose State, but in the handful of games prior to that. Now they're facing some pressure here. Carlos Stewart, Brandon Pajimski crosses midcourt, and that's where he's picked up by Jarrell Satterfield. Satterfield defending Pajimski, who wants to drive. His floater off the window is no, and we're going to have a push in the back and a foul on Portland State. It will be on Hunter Woods, who picks up his first. Portland State leading this one by a score of 9-0, and we are 2:05 into this first half here at the Levy Center. Our officials for tonight's game, Jeff Ketchu, Kelly Pfeiffer, and Toby Doolittle. And this is a Portland State team, 5-5, but coming off a blowout loss the last time out to Cal Poly. There's a turnover. Here comes Woods into the front court. Satterfield a wing triple, back iron miss, rebounded by Pajimski. And you think Portland State's going to shoot threes tonight? You absolutely can bet on it. Pajimski, Brown, Carlos Stewart. There's Key from the wing. His three, that one spins out. Bediako has the rebound, and he's fouled going up by Satterfield. So where Portland State has come out making 3 of their first 4 three-point attempts, the Broncos are 0 for 3, though Bediako was fouled by Satterfield. This is head coach Jace Coburn's second season at the helm of the Vikings. He took over for a former Herb Sendek assistant here at Santa Clara, Barrett Peary. And Coburn, in a well-chronicled turnaround from a year ago, as Bediako converts on the first. Coburn had a team that was struggling, low scoring, 2-7 in conference. He changed the philosophy and the lineup. They went to a smaller team. They were a big team that was built on defense. They went to a smaller team, play small ball, up and down, spread the floor. And they ended up not only doing very well the remainder of conference as Woods drives and kicks to the corner. Parker finding Satterfield. Satterfield driving. His floater off the glass is good. And he has 5 points. And it's 11-2 now. He turned everything around. And this is a team that won a couple of games in the Big Sky Conference tournament. Upset one of the top 2 seeds as Carlos Stewart underhanded flip is missed. Here comes Parker on the run for the Portland State Vikings. Stopping at the right elbow. Right wing corner. This is Satterfield right in front of the Bronco bench. Now to Parker, comes to a jump stop. He's a lefty, defended by a lefty. He fires over Pajimski, misses, rebounded in there by Iman. Iman, a jump hook left it short, and it's knocked out of bounds to Santa Clara. Broncos fighting hard here. But nevertheless, it was a team that was 2-7 in conference and finished 10-10. How about a turnaround for Jace Coburn, who was associate head coach at Portland State, was an assistant at Portland State dating all the way back to 2013, so 10 seasons with the Vikings. Broncos trailing early, 11-2 here at the Levy Center. Stopping, whipping a pass to Keyshawn in the corner. This is Carlos Stewart driving, wanted the dunk, and met in the air by Iman, who fouls him. Iman picks up his first. And so, needless to say, they're very excited at Portland State at the job Jace Coburn has done. Lost a couple of key players from a year ago. This is a team that is in the early part of a stretch of 6 of 7 away from home. And then they open Big Sky Conference play on New Year's Eve at Sac State. First free throw from Carlos Stewart is good, coming off a 19-point game against San Jose State. 81% free throw shooter. Made the first, and the second is good. So Carlos Stewart, in his last 4 games, averaging close to 18 points a contest. But the Broncos have a lot of work to do here early. As checking into the game, Isaiah Johnson. Cameron Parker throwing out top to Satterfield. Guarded closely by Pajimski. Satterfield now gives off to Michael Starks, who flips it underhand, misses the shot. Rebounded by rebounded by Parker Brown. And now it's Bediako, a jump hook. He left it short off the front iron. Here comes Johnson into the front court, flipping to Starks, throws behind to Woods. Woods driving, forces it up with the left hand. Good defensive work by Bediako, but he loses it. And now Johnson throws it away. Pajimski, Keyshawn Justice, Carlos Stewart driving, and has it blocked off the glass, but picked up by Bediako. And in it goes for 2. And the Broncos slowly scratching their way back in this after a 9-0 run by the Pilots, or rather the Vikings to start. There's a 3-ball left wing. That is Woods, and he's got another one. 9 points for Hunter Woods. And it's 14-6. Woods spent 3 seasons at Elon. Out top to Carlos Stewart. Wide open look from Keyshawn Justice. That one's long, rebounded by Starks. Portland likes to get up and down. This is Woods. Back to Parker, wanting to go on Parker Brown. Now it's Starks driving, throws behind, and it's Pajimski wanting to go the length of the floor, and he will miss the dunk. Brandon missed the dunk. Back come the Vikings the other way. In the corner, this is Johnson trying to go baseline, throwing it out top to Parker. Now Starks is open for 3 and fires. Misses. On the run, picked up by Pajimski. Pajimski looking to penetrate, kicks out to Keyshawn Justice. His 3-ball is good. Justice, who's coming off a 5 3-point game against San Jose State. 25 points for him in the Bronco loss. And it's now 14-9. Broncos within 5. 5 minutes, 50 seconds and change gone by first half. Good to have you with us tonight, whether you're listening on AM 1220 KDOW, the Broncos TuneIn Radio Premium channel, or watching on the WCC network. Parker, 5 on the timer. Parker throwing to Woods. Fires a 3-pointer, misses it short. Ball is loose, picked up on the run by Carlos Stewart. Carlos driving to the basket, throws it off the glass and down. Well, the Broncos giving Portland State a little bit of their own medicine on the transition. And now it's Woods throwing one up off the glass and in. Hunter Woods already has 11 points. He's averaging 9.5 per game coming in. Broncos lead 16-11. Well, if you were hoping for an exciting game, an up-and-back game, you are getting it. Starks rips it away from Carlos Stewart. Here comes Johnson down the center of the floor. Throws left wing to Woods. Now to Satterfield. Spot shot. 3 is good. He has 8 points. And it's 19-11. Portland State has the lead. They are 5 of 9 from 3. And Herb Sendek said, let's get someone in there to help out defensively. And a drive and a pass goes into a sea of bodies. And last touch by Portland State. So it will be Bronco basketball, and we are at a timeout. 12:53 remaining first half, and it's the Vikings of Portland State 19, The home side, Santa Clara 11. We'll be back after this. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Broncos trailing Portland State 19-11 as the Pilots have come out hot. 11 points for Woods, 8 for Satterfield. Those two players have combined 7 for 11. Santa Clara with some substitutions. They will inbound baseline left. Brenton Napper, Jacob Holt, and Cozy Akametu, along with Cameron Tung. 4 new players on the floor for Herb Sendick. Holt will fire a 3. That one is good. Missed, actually, hit the back iron. Cozy Akametu driving. He's into traffic, and he's fouled going up, and he'll have 2 free throws coming for Santa Clara. The foul is on Isaiah Kirby, who had just checked in. That's the 4th team foul on Portland State. Well, this is something Santa Clara did not do a lot of in the first half against San Jose State. A game the Broncos led by 8 at halftime is really trying to get to the line as Akametu misses the first free throw. Cozy came in shooting free throws 8 of 9 on the season. Averages about 7.5 minutes per game off the bench for Herb Sendick. So it's good to see Santa Clara going right after the Vikings. Akametu makes the second. Broncos trail 19-12. But right now, Santa Clara 3 of 14 from the floor. This is Kirby out near midcourt. Iman is checked back in. Kirby to the free throw line, throws to the corner for Parker. Lefty dribble into traffic. Now a pass intercepted by Akametu, going the length of the floor. Right-handed dunk as head coach Jace Coburn of Portland State asked for a foul, but Akametu throws it down, and the Broncos are down by 5. 19-14. Cameron Parker working the dribble to the right sideline into the hands of Kirby. Throws topside. That's a three-point attempt and a three-point shot from Bobby Harvey, the senior transfer from Indiana University, Purdue University, Indiana, to make it 22-14. Broncos have got to do a better job on the perimeter as Michael Starks gets ready to check back in. Harvey defending Napper. Now it's Johnson on Keyshawn Justice. They switch it. Kirby on Justice now. Cross court to Napper. 8 on the timer. Jacob Holt to Akametu, behind the back with the dribble. Looking to accelerate, loses the handle. Pull-up jumper. Cozy misses off the back iron, and it's grabbed by Parker. Here come the Vikings. Cross midcourt, quickly in transition. There's the handoff to Kirby. He'll step into a 3, and that one is good. Well, Portland State is now 7 of 11 from three-point land, and they lead by 11, 25-14. Santa Clara, on the other hand, 1 for 6 from three-point land as Justice bullying his way to the free throw line. Flaring out to the left side. Holt to Napper. 11 minutes left in the half as Carlos Stewart heads to the scorer's table. Jacob Holt, low right block. Holt trying to back down Iman. Cross-court pass. Topside. Keyshawn, pump fake. One extra pass to Napper, and he buries it. One extra pass equals 3 points for Brenton Napper. And the Broncos' second triple brings them to within 8 at 25-17. Kirby stops at the free throw line, throws to the corner right side. This is Johnson bouncing down low to Iman. Iman wanting to back down Jacob Holt. Iman spinning, and he throws it off the glass, and he's fouled. Jacob Holt called for the foul. Iman got body position down low, and as Holt picks up his first, we have a timeout. Well, Santa Clara having some difficulty with Portland State. Vikings 27, Santa Clara 17. We have a timeout on the floor, 10:22 remaining here in the first half. Back with more after this. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Back inside the Levy Center, Anthony Passarelli with you, my broadcast partner this season. Henry Caruso not with us for this game, but so far Portland State has been out-rebounding the Broncos, or rather, correction, have been not allowing the Broncos a lot of second shots, and Santa Clara has struggled from the floor, shooting just 29%. 4 each for Stewart and Bediako, 3 each for Justice Akametu and Napper. But the three-point shots are what really are hurting the Broncos right now. Portland State 7 of 11, and their two top scorers, Satterfield and Woods, are now on the bench. This is Jacob Iman, Fullerton College, his last stop, right-handed foul shooter, and he makes the free throw and converts the three-point play. It's an 11-point lead, 28-17. Napper bouncing into the front court right sideline. Kozi Akametu. Now Cameron Tung getting in deep, missing the shot, but getting his own rebound and laying it in. And that's Cameron Tung not wanting to stop with just one opportunity. 28-19. Broncos down here in the first half. Michael Starks to the left elbow, down the lane, nearly has it stripped. Now it's on the floor. Akametu going down onto the floor for it, and forces a tied ball, the possession arrow favoring Santa Clara. This lineup for the Broncos is Carlos Stewart, Brenton Napper, Akametu, Cameron Tung, and Jacob Holt. So other than Stewart, 4 players who did not start this game in the lineup. Now Cameron Tung looking and throws it in finally to Carlos Stewart in the backcourt. Bobby Harvey and Kirby. Isaiah Kirby providing some pressure as the Broncos make their way into the front court. Trailing in this one 28-19. Herb Sendek stands at the edge of the coaching box right in front of the bench. Jacob Holt looked like he might have traveled in there, and he hits the deck. This ball goes toward the sideline and out of bounds as he was knocked down. And Viking head coach Jace Colberg saying, wait a second, looked like he traveled, and I have to say I might agree with him in that one. Now, how much contact Jacob Holt took remains to be calculated, as Santa Clara will inbound with 8 on the timer. Pajimski, baseline right, 5 on the timer, backing down Starks. In trouble, there's the fall away, fires a pass, and it's Jacob Holt late. And the Broncos A shot clock violation. Jaden Bediako heads to the scorer's table. He'll check in for Jacob Holt. And they'll actually come over and look here. The trio of Ketchu, Pfeiffer, and Doolittle will come over and look to see if it indeed was a shot clock violation. It looked like it was to me, but we don't always have the best vantage point. We can let you know that coming up, the Broncos will have UC Irvine on Thursday at 7 o'clock. We'll have it for you on AM 1220 KDOW, TuneIn Radio, and the WCC network. As Pajemski was right of the lane, trying to fall away, but nearly had it blocked. The ball ended up in the hands of Holt underneath the basket, and by the time he turned and flipped it over the shoulder, layup, the shot clock violation had sounded. This is Starks working against the big man, Bediako. Starks a little guard. Down to the hands of Kirby, and this is Woods for three, and he has another one. Hunter Woods has 14 first-half points, and it is 31-19. Santa Clara can't let this one get away. This is a Portland State team that continues to score. It's not like they're going to stop as Pajemski fires a triple. That's a back iron miss into the hands of Bediako. Pajemski, that's Carlos Stewart, and Stewart drops one in from three. That was from the right side, 31-22, and the Broncos are now 3 of 9 from three. Kirby behind the back with the dribble, center of the floor. That's Harvey. Now it's Starks. Starks throwing to Woods. Another three-pointer, and he misses. Finally, he was on fire. That was a heat check, and Santa Clara has the rebound. Pajemski bouncing down into the low block. This is Cameron Tongue with the left-handed push shot, and it was wildly off. And Hunter Woods coming back the other way, the junior from Pasadena. Woods trying to penetrate, throws it to Iman. Now back to Woods. 8 minutes remaining, first half from the Levy Center in Santa Clara. And the visiting Portland State Vikings are having an outstanding half shooting the basketball. 11 of 20 from the floors. Kirby drives, and a block from Cameron Tongue. Here comes Carlos Stewart back the other way. Carlos off the window, double clutch, and down. Carlos has 9, 31-24. And Starks with Cameron Parker on the bench, the starting point guard. This is Kirby firing a pull-up jump shot. That one rattles in, and that one was over the outstretched hand of Jaden Bediako. And Kirby gets the bucket. Not a 3, a 2. 33-24 is our score. Carlos Stewart using the Cameron Tongue screen. Cozy Akametu looking to penetrate, gets into traffic, and he's called for an offensive foul as he ran right over Starks. Akametu's first, and that'll take us to a timeout with 7:08 remaining here in the first half. Broncos trailing the visitors, Portland State, 33-24. And we'll be back after this. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Broncos trailing 33-24. First half action from the Levy Center in Santa Clara. Bronco lineup with Parker Brown back in. He's paired with Bediako down low. Keyshawn Justice, Carlos Stewart, and Brandon Pajimski, who's been held scoreless. 0 for 4 from the floor. And credit Portland State and Hunter Woods, the junior guard who came in averaging 10 points per contest. Starks drives, throws to Parker, enters the paint, throws back out to Johnson. Free throw line, into traffic, forces one up off the side iron. It's missed. He goes over the back of Keyshawn Justice for the rebound. Parker dribbling into traffic into the center of the floor. Free throw line, up against Bediako. Working, now 10 on the timer. Throws back out to Woods. Down into the block, it's Johnson. Spinning baseline, off the window, missed. Bediako will tip him to himself, and the Broncos have the possession. Midcourt, it's Stewart. Left wing, it's Key. Trying to post Parker Brown down low. Broncos have a size advantage here. This is the small ball lineup that Jace Coburn likes to use here. Parker Brown wanting to penetrate. Whips one to Carlos Stewart. Pajimski open, drives, kicks to Key, open for three, pump fake, steps back, fires, you betcha! That extra pass, and Key's got another triple. He has 6, and it's 33-27 Portland State. This is Johnson. It starts playing catch out top. Parker holding right wing, free throw line extended. Jab step, turning the corner. He hooked his arm around Keyshawn Justice and put it up off the glass and missed it. Now Key in transition. There's a 3 ball. That one is missed. Johnson the rebound as Pajimski hits the deck. And now Johnson speeding into the front court left sideline. Broncos improving their shooting percentage just a little bit here. Pull up, Satterfield misses badly. It's an air ball. And Pajimski asking Kelly Pfeiffer, the referee, how is that not a foul call? Hunter Woods comes out. Kendall Munson, the former Pepperdine product, who played a couple of years in Malibu. 6'8", 235 forward into the game. And same for Hayden Curtis, the 6'11 sophomore from North Bend. His last stop, the University of Portland. Defending out top. Satterfield. It stays in the game. Parker Brown getting in deep, drops it off for Bediako, and there was a foul. And it should be a foul on Portland State. And it will be on Michael Starks. 5th team foul. Broncos have committed only 3. But right now, Santa Clara's big problem is stopping the outside shooting of the Portland State Vikings. 8 of 14 from the floor. Starks defending Pajimski in the front court, left wing corner. Cross court pass. Carlos Stewart misses. And it's pulled down by Kendall Munson. Here comes Parker up the center of the floor. Accelerating to the basket. Misses the shot, but a foul on Santa Clara as Parker taking it right at Keyshawn Justice. And Justice picks up the foul. That is his first. Well, it was one of the keys we talked about. It was control penetration. And in that case, that coupled with a transition. Parker to the line. An excellent foul shooter, Cameron Parker, who makes the first. Last season at Montana, 9 points, 4.5 assists per game, which led the conference, the Big Sky Conference. A couple of years at Sacred Heart, then the last 2 at Montana. A lefty foul shooter, and he misses the second. And Santa Clara gives it up as Bediako and Brown fought for the rebound. Now down low to Curtis. Curtis dropping off at a 2-handed dunk for Kendall Munson, and a foul. Bediako picks up the foul, and the Broncos are not securing the basketball on the rebound. Curtis with a nice dish to a cutting, baseline cutting Kendall Munson. And Munson, who played 30 games for Pepperdine last year with a little bit of a flush, and a free throw here can make it a 10-point Portland State lead. And that was badly off. The long rebound comes to Keyshawn Justice, who volleyball passes it to Brandon Pajimski. Turns the corner, driving. There's a foul. And Pajimski's going to go to the line as Munson was late to get back. And Munson picks up the foul. sixth team foul. But right now, Podziemski just has to find a way to get himself in a position to score. And that's one of them. Just take it right at the defender and get yourself to the line. First one for Brandon is good. Brandon's father in attendance from Wisconsin for this one, and the one on Thursday against UC Irvine. Carlos Stewart comes out for Brenton Napper. 36-28 is our score. 4:43 left to go in the half. And Podziemski makes the second. He has 2 points. 36-29. Right now, Santa Clara needs to lock down defensively. Curtis, lob back door to Kirby. Kirby catches it, and he steps out of bounds. He went up for the lob, but Brenton Napper was right on his hip, and he caught the ball, came down, and was standing out of bounds. So the Broncos get a break there. And will now face some full court pressure here. Napper in danger of getting trapped in the backcourt. Finds Podziemski, who's racing to midcourt. Now front court, Parker Brown. And it was thrown behind Parker Brown at his feet. He tried to reach back and grab it, and it goes out of bounds. The Broncos turn it over. That is their 7th turnover of the first half. Meanwhile, 6 turnovers for Portland State. They have a couple of victories over Oregon State. They have a victory over Air Force. Kirby driving baseline. Parker open for 3. A lefty triple. It's missed. It's tipped, and Parker Brown has the rebound. Podziemski crosses midcourt. Whips a cross-court pass to Brenton Napper, who misses the 3, but a foul, a push in the back on Portland State. And it's on Munson. Second on Munson. Starks is going to head to the scores table and check in. And Podziemski is going to get a chance to, with the clock stopped at 4:03 remaining first half, a chance for a couple of free throws. Correction, a bonus. 1-and-1 opportunity. And we will take a timeout here. We're going to take the under 4 media timeout at 4:03 with the Broncos trailing by 7, but at the line. First half action. Broncos trailing Portland State 36-29, and it's Bronco basketball from Ben Wagner. Santa Clara at the line. Brandon Podziemski, a 1-and-1 opportunity for the Broncos, trailing by 7 to a hot shooting Portland State team. And this should not be a surprise to anybody who has followed the Vikings this year, and really since the middle of conference play last year under second-year head coach Jace Coburn. Free throw missed, ball is loose, and picked up by Starks. So Podziemski, a good foul shooter, comes up short on the front end of that 1-and-1 opportunity. Satterfield and Starks playing catch out top. Clock rolling at 3:50 remaining as the green-clad Vikings are having a good time shooting the basketball here inside the Levy Center. A nice drive and dish from Hunter Woods. And Curtis lays it in for 2. So the Bronco defense breaking down underneath. And the lead is back to 9. Brenton Napper playing catch with Brandon Pajemski on the switch. It's the big man Curtis on the Bronco guard. And there's a floater. Good. A little drive and a floating jump shot from Pajemski. And Brandon now has 4 points. Broncos once again within 7. 38-31. Pajemski diving for it. This one is into the backcourt and is picked up by Brenton Napper. Now Pajemski, Keyshawn inside. What a no-look pass from Key to Parker Brown for the lay-in, and that's 2 more for Santa Clara. They're within 5. And Parker Brown with the basket. And now we have a timeout of the 30-second variety for Portland State. Broncos have scored the last 2 baskets. And now shooting 38% here in the first half. They're out rebounding Portland State 20-16, but 3-point shots, 8 of 15 for the Vikings, including 4 from Hunter Woods. And 2 from Jarrell Satterfield. While the Broncos are just 4 of 13. So after the 30-second timeout, Portland State will inbound on the near sideline, just a few feet from the head of the Santa Clara bench. 2:51 left to go here in the first half. Hunter Woods will throw back out to the point guard Cameron Parker. Parker working against Key, man-to-man defense. Broncos always playing the man-to-man. And now it's Bediako on the switch against Cameron Parker. Starks wanting to penetrate. Driving to the basket, loses the handle on it, and it's picked up by Jaden Bediako. And Santa Clara almost lost it as Keyshawn Justice tried to find Brenton Napper. And Isaiah Johnson takes it right away from the driving Pajemski. And here's a lob to Satterfield, but he wasn't in the air. And now a 3-point ball from the right sideline is no good. And it goes out of bounds underneath the basket over the baseline. Bobby Harvey has checked in for Starks. So it's Johnson, Woods, Harvey, Satterfield, and Parker. This is a Portland State team picked to finish 8th in the preseason coaches poll for the Big Sky Conference. Harvey defending Pajemski. Penetrating, spinning, dropping it off for Bediako. He goes up underneath and lays it in with the right hand. Off the dish from Pajemski. 6 points for JB. Broncos within 3, 38-35. Cameron Parker outside the arc, looking to penetrate, goes right by Keyshawn, forces one up off the glass, misses the shot, and it's knocked out of bounds by Johnson. So the Broncos have turned up the defensive effectiveness. Woods to the bench. Hyman is in, and this is something Jace Colburn will do. He'll have a small lineup out there, but then they won't be able to get missed shot rebounds. And a kicked ball in the backcourt. It'll be a kicked ball possession Santa Clara as Brandon Pajemski tried a one-handed bounce pass the width of the floor of the backcourt. 1:42 left to go, first half. Broncos can tie it with a 3 here after trailing at one point by 12, 31-19. Keyshawn Justice on the left sideline. 90 seconds remaining in the half. Between the legs with the dribble. Now it's the switch. Hyman on Pajemski. Step back 3. High arcing rainbow. And that's a triple for Pajemski, his first of the game. The Broncos have tied it at 38 with 1:15 to go here in the first half. Now Santa Clara is their 5th three-pointer of the first half. Isaiah Johnson on the left sideline. Isaiah Johnson driving into traffic, going up against Parker Brown. He forces a shot up and he scores an acrobatic lay-in. Isaiah Johnson inside of a minute to play in the half. Broncos trailing 40-38. Brenton Napper almost loses it as the pass came out and almost went into the backcourt. Napper, Parker Brown, Bediako, low right block with Harvey on him. Jaden, a little floater, missed it, tipped, and grabbed by Satterfield. Quickly to Parker, front court. Parker wiggling in traffic, and now a foul on Santa Clara. On Brandon Pajemski, whistled for the grab. That's only the 6th team foul, so not a shooting situation, but now a fresh 30 for Portland State. Akametu will come on here. Parker Brown leaves. Bediako, Justice, Pajemski, Akametu, and Carlos Stewart. Vikings up 40-38 with 35.1 seconds left to go. And it comes. This is Parker out at the logo with Justice defending him. Cameron Parker working. Now we'll throw to Satterfield. Rises, 18-footer. It's on the front rim, and it comes off. Ball is loose. Ball is still loose. And a kicked ball, and it will be Bronco ball. It was either kicked by Portland State or the Viking player on the floor that touched it was partially out of bounds. So it's Santa Clara down 40-38 and 19.3 seconds left to go in the half. Harvey leaves and Starks is in. Carlos Stewart will inbound in the Bronco backcourt at the baseline. And it comes to Pajemski. Broncos release and allow Pajemski to bring the ball up the floor against Starks' defense. He crosses midcourt with 10. Keeping the dribble low, blows right past Starks, cross court, and it gets thrown out of bounds as Carlos Stewart and Cozy Akametu were nowhere near that ball. And the Broncos commit their 9th turnover of the first half. And now the Pilots can take the final shot here. This is Parker driving, forces one up off the glass and scores it. And Cameron Parker looks over at the Bronco crowd and says something as that basket and the subsequent horn means it's halftime with Portland State leading at 42-38. We invite you to stick around for the University Credit Union halftime show and our interview with Bronco redshirt freshman guard Brenton Napper coming up. Once again, our halftime score, Portland State 42, Santa Clara 38. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. All right, welcome to the Bronco halftime show. Anthony Passarelli here with you. We get a chance to talk with all the Bronco student athletes, the Bronco men's basketball, and we have Bronco redshirt freshman Brenton Napper. Thanks for joining us. Wanted to ask you, because last year was your redshirt year, what did you take away from that season? What was difficult? It's meant to be a year to get players prepared for basketball at the Division I level.
Yeah, it was pretty tough, honestly. But the coaches and them kept me in it, and being with the players and everything, it pretty much taught me like to the inside and out of the system here. So I feel like it helped me a lot.
What people don't know is that redshirt means you pretty much take part in all the practices. You just don't play in the games. You do the weightlifting. You do pretty much everything a player does, but you don't get the benefit of getting in there, which is the part that players love, is the game. So coming into this season from last season, did you feel like that really prepared you?
Oh, for sure. You know, the older guys like Keyshawn, Jalen Williams, who's now in the NBA now, like PJ, Yosef, they all helped me out last year, keeping me with them, like doing team practices and talking to me the whole time, getting ready for this year. And I feel like it helped me a lot this upcoming season.
What was it like playing with Jalen Williams? I mean, you mentioned Josip Frankic, PJ Pipes, obviously more closely related to the position you were going to play or are playing now, but Jalen Williams in the NBA, that's got to be pretty special to have been able to have learned from him.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, they taught me a lot. Like, they taught me the inside and out of the system, like I said. I don't really know what to say about them. They just, like, it's pretty valuable. They helped me, like, get used to everything here. And it just felt good. It feels good.
I would imagine the basketball part of it, because you've been playing for so long, that would be something that comes naturally to you. What about coming to Santa Clara, Division I level at a university like this, maybe didn't come as easily off the court?
Yeah, off the court, it was pretty tough. Just getting used to the system. It's always a system coming in, like transitioning in from high school to college. So it's always going to be pretty tough. But, you know, when you got the good support system around you, it's going to be pretty easy as well. And that's pretty much what I had last year. Everybody talking to me, communicating with me, catching up with me, everything. So it made everything just simple.
And now we had a chance to see Brenton's mother and grandmother down in Las Vegas in the non-conference schedule. They might be watching right now. Anything you want to say to them?
Thank you guys for the support. I love you guys. And Napper Clan.
There you go. Brenton Napper, Bronco redshirt freshman guard here on the halftime show. We'll have more right after this.
You're listening to Santa Clara Broncos basketball on AM 1220 KDOW.
It's halftime here inside the Levy Center with Santa Clara trailing Portland State by a score of 42-38. And it's the University Credit Union halftime show presented by University Credit Union. And the Broncos coming off the loss here to San Jose State over the weekend, ending a 6-game home winning streak. And they got off to a slow start against Portland State. And don't let a 5-5 record fool you for the Portland State Vikings. They are a high-octane offense. They will force you into turnovers, and that's exactly what happened at the start of this game as they came out and started making three-pointers by the handful, led by Hunter Woods in the first half, 14 points for him. But Cameron Parker was involved, getting his teammates involved. Jarrell Satterfield also had a strong first half, but the Broncos found themselves down 9-0 right out of the gate, and they struggled to get back in it. Next thing they knew, they were down 19-11 and 28-17 before Santa Clara started to get involved in the offensive side of things and forcing turnovers and getting buckets, and the Broncos getting some help from Brenton Napper, who made a big three-pointer in a run that got the Broncos within striking distance. Cameron Tongue came off the bench, had a nice block, and Carlos Stewart a twisting layup. And the Broncos, next thing they knew, Keyshawn Justice was knocking down a three, and the Broncos were putting together a 9-0 run to tie the score at 38-38. They once trailed 31-19, but a three-pointer late in the first half for Brandon Pajimski was able to get to the Broncos to a 38-38 score. Cameron Parker had a basket late in the half, and that's why it's 42-38. Portland State. We come back. The halftime show continues. We'll have first half stats. Don't go away. Broncos trail Portland State 42-38. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
University.
You're listening to Santa Clara Broncos basketball on AM 1220 KDOW.
Back inside the Levy Center, Anthony Passarelli with you. Halftime as Portland State leads Santa Clara 42-38. Let's take a look at our halftime stats brought to you by Lexus of Stevens Creek, the preferred luxury car dealer of the Broncos. As Santa Clara ultimately got their shooting percentage up just above 40%. Portland State started hot and then cooled off to 44%. Three-point field goals, 8 of 16 for the Vikings. The Broncos just 5 of 14. Free throws to a 4 for Portland State. The Broncos 7 of 9. And rebounding, the Broncos out-rebounded Portland State 24-17. But it was the pesky turnovers, 9 of them for Santa Clara, and a couple of them in some key spots where the Broncos had a chance to maybe close the gap in the first half a little bit sooner. Individually, 14 points for Hunter Woods, 4 of 7 from three-point land, the only Viking to get into double figures. 8 points for Jarrell Satterfield. He had a couple of triples. And Isaiah Kirby off the bench with 5. All other players had less than 5 points for Portland State. Broncos did not have a player in double figures. Carlos Stewart with 9, 7 for Brandon Pajimski, 6 each for Bediako and Justice, 3 each for Napper and Akametu, and 2 each for Parker Brown and Cameron Tongue. We come back. We'll start the second half. It's the Broncos and Portland State Vikings. Vikings lead at 42-38. We'll be back after this. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Back inside the Levy Center, Anthony Passarelli with you. We'll see what adjustments Herb Sendek and his staff make as we are moments away from the start of the second half. Santa Clara at one time trailed by 12 to Portland State and tied it at 38, only to watch the Vikings score the last 4 points, and that's our difference as we get ready to start the second half. Broncos will send out Bediako, Parker Brown, Pajimski, Carlos Stewart, and Keyshawn Justice. Carlos Stewart, who is coming off a 19-point game against San Jose State. We talked at the outset about how well he's been playing offensively for Herb Sendek and the Broncos these last 4 games. We'll see how Santa Clara does to start the second half. Satterfield throwing into the backcourt. Portland State moving right to left in the second half as Cameron Parker working against Keyshawn Justice. Broncos switch it. Out top it comes to Starks. Looking for Satterfield instead. It's Howard, or rather Woods. Woods into the paint, throws cross court. This is Starks driving. Starks stops, nearly threw it away. 10 on the timer. It's Parker. Parker against Bediako. Broncos switch it. Here's the corner. This is Starks driving. A floater is on the rim and no good. Rebounded by Parker Brown. Front court quickly to Pajimski. Stepping through. A Euro step and a lay-in with the left hand as Pajimski hits the deck. And the Broncos have the first bucket of the second half. It's 42-40 Portland State. Broncos in transition. This is Parker kicking out to Starks. Now it's Hunter Woods. A chest pass to Starks, working against Carlos Stewart. Now it's Parker, defended by the big man, and Bediako went for the ball fake, the shot fake, and it's called for a grab. Bediako picks up his second. First of the second half for Santa Clara. Broncos, if you look at the second half of the game against San Jose State where they really struggled, they kind of had a hangover from that game, and that's how they played the first half. We'll see how their second half is here as Starks drives. Starks in trouble. Lost the handle on it as it was poked away. Picks it back up. This is Hunter Woods. Now it's Cameron Parker. Parker looking to drive. Kicks out Starks. 3-ball with 3 on the timer, and it is good. Oh, that's a dagger. Starks, his first basket of the game is a 3-pointer to make it 45-40. And I'm sure Herb Sendek and the Broncos staff having flashbacks to the start of this game, where Portland State was just knocking down threes by the handful. Pajimski bouncing down low. This is Parker Brown going up, scoring, and he's fouled. Satterfield, I believe, reached in. Count the basket. Satterfield called for his second, and Parker Brown has a chance for a 3-point play here, which could bring the Broncos within 2. Prior to that basket, Parker Brown and Jaden Bediako combined for 8 points. Brown's free throw is good. So Parker's got 5 after a 4.6 rebound game against San Jose State. 45-43 is our score. Starks on the far sideline. 6-foot guard, pounding that dribble, finding Cameron Parker. Justice defending. Screen is slipped. Broncos switch it. Parker Brown defending. There's a drop-off down low, and Iman in trouble. He misses a reverse layup from underneath. Bediako the rebound. Quickly into the front court. Pajimski. Jab step on Woods. The lefty is bumped, and Woods has just picked up a foul. Well, Pajimski knew once he had Woods leaning forward, he would have him off balance and contact would be made. And now Santa Clara with a chance to tie or take the lead here with Carlos Stewart inbounding baseline left. Cameron Parker jumping in front of Carlos Stewart, and in it comes, and this is going to be a hold here. Portland State called for a foul, and Satterfield has just picked up his third. Chase Coburn motioning to Satterfield, just keep your hands straight up. Carlos Stewart looking, and it comes to Bediako. Bediako back to Carlos. There's a 3-ball in the air. Carlos Stewart knocks it down, and the Broncos take the lead. Double figures for Carlos Stewart. It's a 46-45 Bronco lead. And this is more the pace Santa Clara likes here as Parker trying to penetrate, in trouble. Broncos wanted 3. Instead, the throw back is intercepted by Carlos Stewart. He puts the shot up. It's no good, but a foul on Starks. And that's an excellent defensive effort by the Broncos. And then turning it into free throws at the other end as Starks picks up the foul. Carlos Stewart, as they got Cameron Parker in trouble in the paint, and he was forced to throw it back out top. And Carlos Stewart was laying in wait, grabbed it, and went the other direction. Makes the first free throw. Carlos Stewart with 13, Starks to the bench. Isaiah Kirby, who spent last year at Tallahassee Community College, but the prior 2 years at Southeast Louisiana, is into the game. Stewart makes them both. He has 14 points. Broncos lead at 48-45. Kirby in trouble. Throws back to Parker. Carlos Stewart defending. They're trying to post Iman down low, and they do. Keyshawn Justice defending him. Here comes Iman backing down, spinning, scoring, and he's fouled. Keyshawn Justice ceded a little bit too much space in the paint there. Iman's going to get the bucket to give him 5 points, second on Keyshawn. And he really set him up well, did Iman, as Keyshawn was on his left shoulder, and Iman rolled back to his right and had a clear path to the basket. And now Iman, a chance for the three-point play, and his free throw is an air ball. Well, it got the bottom of the net. It happens. 48-47 Santa Clara. And we are 2 minutes and 51 seconds into the second half. So a good start for the Broncos. 3 for 3 from the floor. Some pressure as the Broncos break it easily. And now Carlos Stewart dribbling out near the logo as the Broncos get into position here. Carlos Stewart downhill to the basket. Goes for the dunk, and he's fouled. Misses the dunk, but the foul is on Isaiah Johnson. 5th team foul already. Is Carlos accelerating. And if one thing you can't say about Carlos Stewart is that he's afraid to go up against the big guys. And 2 free throws here for Carlos, and the first one is good. $15 points for Carlos as he makes the first. Broncos lead by 2. Second one airborne and through for Carlos. He gives 16 points for the Broncos, and Santa Clara leads at 50-47. They're doing a good job on the perimeter, are the Broncos here defensively. Now it's Satterfield to the left elbow, throws behind him. This is Johnson, now to Parker. Parker accelerating, drops off underneath. It's tipped by Brandon Pajimski, and it goes off of Jaden Bediako, but Brandon got his hand in that passing lane, and that ball never got to the cutter. Shot clock 15, 16:40 left second half. Broncos lead it by 3. Out top to Satterfield, gets to the right elbow, throws to Parker. Parker on the switch, defended by Pajimski. Beyond the arc, stops, throws back to Kirby. Pump fake, cut off by Carlos Stewart. 3 on the timer. Kirby fires a fallback 3. It's no good. It's the side iron and goes out of bounds to Santa Clara, and Herb Sendick standing and clapping right at the edge of the coaches area, just a few feet from where we're seated. So Bronco basketball. Pajimski picked up by Satterfield, making his way to midcourt, walking the dribble now. Using that left hand, looking to accelerate. There's a 15-footer in the air. That one is good. Barely a thought. Pajimski got some space and drilled it. Broncos by 5 now as they trailed by 4 at halftime. Kirby, and an intercepted pass. This is Pajimski down the lane. He can't get the shot to go, but he's fouled hard by Kirby. 2 shots are coming, and the Broncos race over to pick up Brandon Pajimski, and the officials are going to look at this one and determine the severity of that foul. Kirby called for the foul, and folks, with 15:57 remaining here in the second half, that is the 6th team foul on the Vikings. We will take a break. Broncos 52, Portland State 47. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Well, the Broncos outscoring Portland State 14-5 here in the second half. Broncos lead at 52-47. It's a common foul as Brandon Pajimski is going to go to the line for 2 free throws now. There was a thought that maybe Kirby undercut him, but looking at the video replay and those watching on the WCC Network video stream, absolutely the right call. And so Pajimski's first free throw is good. Brandon had 7 in the first half. He has 12 now for the Broncos. Came in leading Santa Clara, averaging 19.4 per night. And one more free throw with the Broncos leading by 6. Pajimski's one of those players that he can have a quiet 25 minutes and then explode for the rest. He misses the second. 53-47 Santa Clara. This is Starks angling the dribble to the left sideline right in front of the Vikings bench. Kirby on the switch, defended by Bediako. Kirby downhill, dribbling underneath the basket on the baseline. Still underneath the basket, back to the far sideline. Good defense by Santa Clara. This is Johnson, downhill, in trouble, throws out top to Woods. Woods over Parker Brown. It's going to be off the side iron and go out of bounds as the Broncos had the 6'10 Parker Brown contesting a deep Hunter Woods 3 from the left wing. And that's exactly what Herb Sendick wants. And now the Broncos inbounding in the backcourt with the clock rolling, 15:25 left here in the second half. Broncos lead it 53-47. This is their largest lead of the game. A pass to the right wing corner. Carlos Stewart missing a 3. And Kirby with the rebound and now head up down the center of the floor. Broncos quickly back on defense. This is Starks now at the free throw line. Down the lane, stopping, cut off by Pajimski, now throwing it back out to Satterfield. Broncos have the 6'10 Brown on Satterfield, an excellent shooter and a good scorer. So they just put a bigger body on him. And now Starks on the switch, defended by Bediako. Broncos switch it back. Now it's Satterfield's jumper. It's missed, and Carlos Stewart got a finger on it, but it goes off his hand and out of play over the baseline. Possession to Portland State. Carlos Stewart's going to come out to a round of applause. His 16 points, game high, and Brenton Napper will check in. So they'll give Carlos Stewart a breather here. Woods going baseline spinning. Now he has a shot blocked, and Parker Brown is called for a foul. Well, and you can hear in the background, there's plenty of folks in agreement with Herb Sendick, who stands pleading his case with Toby Doolittle making the call, and now it will put Hunter Woods at the line. This is his 95th career collegiate game. 3 seasons at Elon last season. 31 games, 13 starts, 6 points per contest. And, well, there's a case to be made either way after looking at the replay. Woods makes the first. He had 14 in the first half. And they were early. A lot of his three-pointers came in the first 10 minutes. Second free throw is good. Good shooter, good foul shooter. Broncos lead is now 4, 53-49. Santa Clara trying to bounce back after the loss to San Jose State after leading by 8 at halftime, and now a drive, and Brandon Pajimski is fouled by Starks. Maybe a little bit of a makeup there. Starks commits the foul, and guess what, everyone? That's the 7th team foul, and we're only 5.5 minutes into this second half. So a lot of free throws coming. Maybe make some eggnog, warm it up, or just pour it if it's already made. Pajimski makes the first. Get those warm, fuzzy slippers on. Maybe get under the blanket, because Santa Clara, if they can keep up the attack offensively, will be at the line plenty. Pajimski makes them both. Brandon with 14. Back up to a 6-point advantage at 55-49. Very early in the second half, 14:20 left. Anthony Passarelli with you tonight from the Levy Center in Santa Clara. Isaiah Johnson trying to back down Bediako, up with the left hand and rolls it in. And the entire Portland State bench wanting a foul, wanting the and one, but they don't get it. 55-51, and a chant of defense from Portland State. In trouble. Back out it comes to Napper. This is Keyshawn Justice. Fumbles it briefly, has it back now. On the switch, Satterfield defending. 10 to shoot. Johnson all the way out on Pajimski. Down the lane. Whips a pass into the corner. Brenton Napper going baseline. Napper in big-time trouble here. Getting no help. Cross court. Wide open. Pajimski. And it spins out, but the putback by Brown is no good. Now back the other way. This is Woods driving. Blocked. No. It goes over Keyshawn Justice and in for two. Keyshawn Justice now picked up by Satterfield. It's a 2-point Bronco lead, 55-53. Brenton Napper using the Bediako screen, picked up by the big man Johnson. Well, 6'6", that's big when you're playing small ball like Portland State is. Pajimski pump fake down the lane, up, reverse layup, can't get it to go. But there's a foul as Pajimski's going to go back to the line. And Portland State head coach Jace Coburn is screaming that that was a hook and hold. Jace Coburn saying my guy couldn't move, and they're not going to look at it. And Coburn defiant in front of the Portland State bench as Pajimski will have 2 free throws, and that's the 8th team foul. Santa Clara could be in the double bonus the way things are going in another 90 seconds. And Pajimski making good on the free throws. He now has 15 points. Bediako leaves. Jacob Holt is in. Granted, Pajimski, an 80% free throw shooter coming in. And he gets 2 more down. Pajimski now with 16 to match Carlos Stewart for a Bronco high. Brandon will come out now. And it's a lineup of Napper, Justice, and Stewart in the backcourt. Brown and Holt in the front court. Santa Clara leading it 57-53. Much better second half performance by Santa Clara. Johnson leaning in on Jacob Holt, putting the shot up and scoring it. And Johnson really doing just about anything he wants down there. 2 more points for him, and it's a 2-point Bronco lead. Brenton Napper, he'll float one in off the glass. That's no good. Rebounded by Portland State. Back the other way. Transition 3 for Woods. That's a rainbow, and he got it. 21 points for Woods. Portland State regains the lead at 58-57. And Santa Clara cannot afford to allow Hunter Woods open looks from 3. It killed him to start the game. Napper, Holt falls down. This one will be tipped into the backcourt, picked up by Keyshawn. 7 on the timer, working against Johnson. Between the legs with the dribble. Parker Brown wants the 3, fires the 3. It is good at the shot clock horn. And Parker Brown gets it. And there's a Portland State player at Satterfield who lost his shoe. So Parker Brown thought about it, pulled it back, reloaded, and knocked it down, and we have a timeout on the floor. 11:59 remaining second half. A high-scoring affair. Broncos 60, Portland State 58. We'll be back after this. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Pizza. Portland State had a brief lead moments ago, but Parker Brown's three-pointer has given Santa Clara back the advantage. Broncos lead 60-58. 11:59 remaining here in the second half. Broncos shooting 5 of 9 floor in the second half, 2 of 4 from three-point land. Portland State 6 of 11 and 2 of 5, but it's the free throw, air quotes, situation here, which has Portland State having committed 8 team fouls and the Broncos just 3. Santa Clara 10 of 11 from the line already here in the second half. Pajimski back in with Brown, Holt, Justice, and Stewart. Michael Starks bringing the ball up the center of the floor with the clock rolling at 11:50 remaining second half. They find Satterfield on the left side. And we've got a whistle and a foul here on Jacob Holt, who was holding on to Jacob Iman. So Jacob against Jacob crime there, resulting in a foul on Holt, and that is his second and the fourth on Santa Clara here in the second half. So it'll be a baseline inbound for Starks, and it comes to Hunter Woods. His jump shot is missed, and Pajimski has the rebound for Santa Clara. Pulled the string a little bit, left it short. Santa Clara wearing their home white uniforms with Santa Clara and Bronco red across the chest. These uniforms, tops and shorts, trimmed in red. Pajimski cut off at the baseline right by Iman. That's a mismatch in favor of Santa Clara. If he can get to the basket, he drives, kicks out. This is Carlos Stewart. Down low it goes to Holt. Cross court, a pass is intercepted by Woods. Midcourt, now accelerating to the basket. Shot blocked by Keyshawn, and it'll go out of bounds. Last touched by Portland State. So Santa Clara turns it over, but Keyshawn Justice, like a sailor on a leaky boat with a bucket, bailed out the Broncos defensively. Bediako is checked in. Holt to the bench. Carlos Stewart finding Pajimski, and he's picked up by Cameron Parker. Parker, a crafty veteran, fifth-year player, as we mentioned, a couple of years at Sacred Heart, a couple of years at Montana. Pajimski to the right elbow. Now keeps the dribble, but backs it out beyond the arc. Pajimski left elbow. Cross-court pass. It'll go topside to Key. Pump fake from 3. Free throw line. Back to Carlos. He'll fire from 3. It's missed, and Bediako had it briefly, but it's tipped by Pajimski, and the Broncos will get a fresh 20 now. 10:40, clock rolling. Pajimski, pull up, 15-footer, off the window, no. Parker Brown had a fingertip on it. Here comes Cameron Parker with a left-handed dribble front court. This is Hunter Woods, has it pulled away. Picked his pocket, did Keyshawn Justice. And Santa Clara gets it back. Broncos down low to Bediako. Wants to go on Iman. Backing down. There's a jump hook. And it's good. Boy, that's what the Broncos needed. It's like a glass of cold water after a hike in the desert for Santa Clara, 62-58. And the Broncos have scored the last 5 points. Kirby driving. Kirby off the window. Misses. Tipped. And grabbed by Keyshawn. Throws to Bediako. Back to Keyshawn. Broncos making their way across midcourt. Picked up by Carlos Stewart. Stewart now going to flip it to Bediako. Back to Carlos. Los, 1 dribble, 2 dribbles. As Akametu heads to the scores table. Carlos Stewart down low into Parker Brown. Back to Pajimski. Pump fake from the left sideline. Rises, fires, misses. Pajimski gets his own rebound. And Brandon still on the right elbow. Back to Key. Open for 3. Nope. And on one bounce, it's saved by Pajimski, and this one's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Parker Brown. So Brandon Pajimski putting his body in danger, flying into the Bronco bench. And we have a timeout here. Portland State calling the timeout. So with 9:28 to play in the second half, Broncos clinging to a 4-point lead. Santa Clara 62, Portland State 58. A full timeout, and we will step away. It is Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Portland State basketball trailing by 4. Santa Clara outscoring the Vikings here in the second half, 24-16. But a long way to go still. Broncos have turned things up defensively here in the second half. Cozy Akametu in for Santa Clara. Harvey playing catch with Iman. Akametu all over him. One bounce, two bounce. Now it's Parker down the lane, driving to the basket, forcing the shot up, and a foul on Santa Clara, and we've got free throws coming for Parker. Parker Brown gets the foul. Cameron Parker will be at the line. Came in 895 career points. His 15.1 points per game coming in. Second on the team. And Parker, who is 1 for 2 from the line in this game, just 3 points, has a couple coming here. And he knocks down the first. Left-handed foul shooter, Parker, now with 4 points. Had 24 against Air Force in a victory over Air Force. 23 against Portland in a loss to the Pilots. Second free throw is good as well. And Parker has 5. Bronco lead is now 62-60. And Santa Clara, who started the second half hot, have cooled off. Bediako comes to set the screen for Pajimski, then rolls to the basket in the corner to Parker Brown. Down low to Bediako, left to the lane. He's got the much smaller Cameron Parker on him. This is Pajimski open from the right wing, misses back iron, long rebound is tipped, and Pajimski tips it into the hands of Carlos Stewart. Carlos driving, throws to Akametu. Akametu has his pocket picked by Cameron Parker. Going to go the length of the floor, misses the shot, and we've got a foul before the field goal attempt. And Santa Clara's Cozy Akametu picks up his second. And for Santa Clara's, that is a 6th team foul. And Akametu will come over and come out. So Cozy, just a couple of minutes there. And now it's Cameron Parker to inbound for the Portland State Vikings. Baseline out of bounds. Isaiah Johnson on the far sideline. A chance to tie or take the lead for Portland State. This is Parker now at the logo. Keyshawn Justice comes out to defend him in the left sideline. In the corner, now it's Harvey at the free throw line. Kicks to Johnson. 13, now 12 on the timer. Harvey will throw back to Parker. Now it's Curtis who has just checked in, sets the screen. Broncos switch it. Now it's Parker with a jump shot, missed it, and it's tipped and grabbed by Johnson, who can't get the lay-in. Rebounded by Harvey, and it's tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Portland State. And Herb Sendick yelling across the floor, one word, rebound. Santa Clara still has the advantage in that category. 35-25 and 11-8 here in the second half, but the Broncos do not have a lot of margin for error here. Basically, Santa Clara playing 7 players as Carlos Stewart, get out of here. Carlos Stewart with a statement jam, and the Broncos lead at 64-60. Stu can do it. Now a drive by Parker. He lays one in. 7 points for him, and now an offensive foul as Johnson is run over at midcourt by Carlos Stewart, who picks up his second foul. So the Broncos had the lead 64-60 on the big dunk by Carlos Stewart, even though Harvey came over. And that'll take us to a break here. The under 8 media timeout comes at 7:44. Broncos 64, Vikings 62, and we'll be back to the Levy Center after this timeout. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
University.
House of Pains jump around playing here inside the Levy Center as Santa Clara leading at 64-62 with 7:44 to play. It's Portland State basketball after that offensive foul from Carlos Stewart, as Stewart picks up his second, 7th team foul. Johnson throwing back out to Satterfield, hopping into the paint, in trouble. Throws to Johnson, whose 15-footer is around and out, and Pajimski the rebound. If you have the big guy at 6'6", Johnson taking shots from 18 feet, Herb Sendick, I would guess, would say that's fine with us. Keyshawn Justice bringing the ball down. It will float one up around the rim and no good, but it's rebounded and put back by Parker Brown, who is now into double figures with 10 points, having a strong second half. It's 66-62 SCU. Satterfield being chased into the paint, nearly traveled, throws it back out to Parker. Parker now, left elbow, stops in the lane, back to Wood. Hunter Woods throws to Parker, now to Starks. Starks will fire a long three. That one is missed. Bediako, while holding off Johnson, grabs the rebound with one hand. And we'll see, I believe it's Johnson committing the foul, which means Bediako will have 2 free throws. Yep, the foul is on Isaiah Johnson. And for those of you watching tonight on the WCC network, especially those up in Portland, you have by now come to the realization that you're listening to the Santa Clara Bronco radio broadcast. So we thank you for your patience there, as Bediako's got 2 free throws, actually 1 and 1 opportunity, and Jaden misses the first one, and so he doesn't get the second one. Still a 4-point lead for Santa Clara. This is Pajimski defending against Cameron Parker, who misses a shot, rebounded by Bediako. Jaden with another rebound, and that is his 10th to go with 8 points. 4-point lead, 6:27 to play. Brandon Pajimski, who's got 16 points already in this one, tries to fire a one-handed pass to Keyshawn Justice. It's intercepted. Johnson to the basket, and he rolls one in off the glass. Johnson now with 8. Santa Clara cannot afford those turnovers. That was their 4th of the half, 13th in the game. Pajimski looking baseline, driving baseline, kicking into the corner. Keyshawn Justice open for 3, misses off the back iron, rebounded by Parker Brown. Fresh 20 for Santa Clara inside of 6 minutes to play. 66-64 SCU on their home floor. Pajimski picked up by Hunter Woods. Pajimski, left-handed floater, and it's missed. Rebounded by Pajimski. Pump fake goes up, and he can't get the shot to fall, but he's fouled. This will be Johnson's 4th. 10th team foul. So even though Pajimski was in the act of shooting, now every foul from here on, the final 5:36, will be 2 shots for Santa Clara. And that's the sheer will from Brandon Pajimski after missing that shot. He's the fastest to the rebound. It's almost like he's a magnet for it. And the lefty puts up the first free throw, and it's no good. Broncos shooting foul shots very well tonight. Johnson leaves. Hyman is in. Santa Clara 17 of 22, 77%. Chance to put the lead to 3 here. And Pajimski does. Brandon Pajimski, 7 in the first half, 10 here in the second. 67-64. Clock running at 5.5 to play. And the Broncos with a slim lead here. Starks going baseline on Carlos Stewart. Starks into the paint with a left-handed dribble. Throws to Hunter Woods. His three-pointer is missed. And we have a whistle underneath and a foul on Santa Clara. Off the missed shot, Jaden Bediako has just picked up the foul. That is his 3rd. And that is the 7th team foul. So now Portland State will reap the benefits of a bonus. And Iman 1 for 2 from the line in this game. It's a 1-and-1 opportunity. And the right-handed foul shooter, the big man, makes the first. Iman, 3 in the first half, now 3 in the second. Coming into the game, 3 for 8 from the line. So he's now 2 for 3 in this one. Second free throw missed. So you look at the numbers, and you can see how he comes out of just 1 for 2. 67-65 Santa Clara. Bronco basketball, Keyshawn Justice, they're trying to post Bediako down low, and they do. He's got the much smaller Cameron Parker on and brings the ball down low. There's a jump hook. It's missed, and it gets over the head of Parker Brown and into the hands of Hunter Woods. Cameron Parker front court, accelerating, dropping it off underneath for Woods, who lays it in, and we're tied. Broncos just did not get back and set. He has 23. 67-67, 4:38 remaining. Second half with Carlos Stewart working the dribble against Starks. Pulls the ball between his legs. One-handed pass to Parker Brown. Catch and shoot. Three! You betcha! Parker Brown. What could Brown do for you? Well, he could make three-pointers. 70-67 Santa Clara. This is Iman on Bediako. Spinning baseline. Spinning back. One-handed jump hook. And Iman with some post moves to make it 70-69. 4 minutes to play. Carlos Stewart, left elbow, wants to go with Iman. Pump fake, in trouble. Throws out to Parker Brown, high into the air to catch it. Right sideline, Pajimski going baseline, in trouble. Cross-court pass to Stewart. Topside, Key open for three, and he left it way short, and it's Satterfield underneath for the rebound. He was so wide open. Maybe that spooked him a little bit. Parker to the basket. He lays it in off the glass. Broncos do not stop dribble penetration, and Vikings lead it 71-70. And Herb Sendick is going to call a timeout here. Broncos get the timeout. They now trail, and we will take our final mandatory break here. Vikings 71, Broncos 70 with 3:26 to play. And we'll be back to the Levy Center for the conclusion of this one. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Santa Clara trailed by 4 at halftime. They led by 4, or rather 3 just moments ago, but 4 straight points for Portland State has the Vikings up 71-70. Bronco ball with 3:26 to play. Parker Brown will inbound. Carlos Stewart has the basketball. 18 points for Carlos as he dribbles out near the logo. 20 to shoot, 3:20 left in the second half. Now it's Johnson defending Pajimski, free throw line, bouncing down low to Bediako. Parker Brown now handing off to Keyshawn, beyond the arc with 10 to shoot. Starks defending. This is Pajimski firing a three. It is no good, an air ball, and one bounce. It goes out of bounds over to Portland State. Empty possession for Santa Clara this late in the game, down by 1. And Santa Clara's shooting percentage plummeting here as we get near the end of the second half. Isaiah Johnson has had a strong second half. Hands off to Starks. Dribble penetration now cut off by Carlos Stewart. Now it's Parker driving to the basket as his shot blocked out of bounds. As Parker got to the baseline, low left block, and then it almost looked like he jumped into Bediako. 10 to shoot. Cameron Parker looking, going to throw it all the way out to Hunter Woods. Hunter Woods handing off to Parker with 8, now 7 on the timer. Parker, free throw line. Starks will fire a rainbow 3. It hit the backboard, but not the rim, and it is a shot clock violation. So the Broncos do well defensively there, force the turnover. That is the 4th in the second half and the 11th for the game for Portland State. And now Carlos Stewart will inbound in the backcourt to Pajimski. Pajimski throwing it cross court now into the front court for Carlos Stewart, accelerating, driving, and what do we have here? An offensive foul on Carlos Stewart. He ran over the defender, and Santa Clara, their second consecutive empty possession. Broncos have not scored in the last 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And now there's only 2:26 remaining. So Broncos back on defense. Starks crosses midcourt, pushes a one-handed pass to Johnson. Bediako defending him. Johnson between the legs with the dribble to the right elbow, leaning in on Bediako, forces one up off the glass. The ball pinballs around, and it's grabbed underneath by Satterfield, who calls a timeout. The Broncos could not get the rebound on the missed shot. And it is a 30-second timeout for Jace Coburn, who once again in his second year, mid-conference schedule a year ago, the Portland State Vikings found themselves 2-7 in conference play. They were a team based on using big bodies and defense and a slower game as their primary way to beat opponents. Well, it clearly wasn't working, and that's what Jace Coburn noticed. He and his assistants went to small ball, and then the team won 8 of their next 10. A couple of games in the Big Sky Conference tournament, including an upset. And they are trying to carry over that momentum into this year. Their losses at Portland, at Seattle, to number 1 Gonzaga, West Virginia, and last time out, a blowout loss to Cal Poly on the road. Now they're trying to pick up a victory on the road here. And it comes to Woods. Woods into the paint. Broncos thought he traveled. Puts up a shot that's partially blocked. Now it's Satterfield, a baseline jumper. It comes out. Rebounded by Parker Brown inside of 2 minutes to play. Broncos down 71-70. Carlos Stewart calmly with the dribble. Jabs to the right side. Working against Satterfield. Down the lane. Forces one up and rolls it in. Carlos Stewart now with 20 unofficially. The Broncos lead at 72-71. Minute 35 to play. Satterfield to Starks. Starks picked up by Pajimski. Down the lane, and an offensive foul is called. And it's called a shove off from Michael Starks. He started to fall, Starks did. And then with his right arm pushed out to try and fend off Pajimski as Starks entered the paint. And now it's Bronco ball with 85 seconds left. A big possession here for Santa Clara. Pajimski crosses midcourt. Pajimski defended by Cameron Parker between the legs with the dribble. Bronco leading scorer to the elbow. Kicks to the corner. This is Keyshawn Justice. Keyshawn back out to midcourt. 8 on the timer. 1:05 left to go in the second half. Between the legs with the dribble, and the ball is taken away. It's a steal. Hunter Woods, length of the floor, misses the layup, but the putback from Parker is good. And now it's Portland State on top, 73-72. And Santa Clara will call a timeout. Broncos had a chance, could not convert. And after Portland State gets the steal, goes the length of the floor for the basket, the Broncos have it with 52.4 seconds left, trailing 73-72. So now Herb Sendick stands as the focal point in the huddle to our right. He has his whiteboard. Brandon Pajimski, Carlos Stewart, Jaden Bediako, and Keyshawn Justice paying particular attention. Out of the huddle, the green and white of Portland State. So it's Bronco basketball, 52.4 seconds left. And the Broncos have been fighting an uphill battle the entire first half. Used a 9-0 run to close out the half. Well, at least to pull even. And we're down by 4 at intermission. They've led here in the second half by as many as 6. Inside of a minute to play, Carlos Stewart, 15-footer in the air. Got it! Carlos Stewart ties his career high with 22. At the other end of the floor, this is Satterfield missing the shot. Parker Brown may have blocked it, but it's Bronco ball. They lead by a point with 30 seconds remaining. 23 on the shot clock. Starks defending out near midcourt. Into the hands of Carlos Stewart. Parker defending him. Carlos at the logo. Carlos with 13, now 12, and now Cameron Parker reaches in and commits the foul. 18 seconds remaining. Broncos lead at 74-73, and Carlos Stewart will have 2 free throws. Jarrell Satterfield thought he should have been fouled on that last drive to the basket for Portland. And out Carlos Stewart with 2 free throws, 18 seconds left. Broncos lead by 1, and now they lead by 2. Stewart, a new career high 23. This will be a free throw that could make it a full 1-possession game at 3 points. 1 bounce in the air. Got it! And Stewart with 24 points to pace the Broncos. It is a game high. Bediako leaves. Napper is in. Portland State, an excellent shooting three-point team. An excellent three-point shooting team, I should say. Now call a timeout. It is a full timeout. It's all they have. So Jace Coburn has just used his final timeout. Broncos have 1 full foul situation. Portland has committed 10 plus. The Broncos 9. So the next foul they commit will be a 2-shot foul. And we're in a similar situation, I should say, that the Broncos were against New Mexico State in what ended a 66-65 Bronco victory, as New Mexico State, with time running out, shot a 2-point field goal when they needed 3 points. Even though the shot went down, they came up a point short. The Broncos got the win. And now Santa Clara with a 3-point lead and 18 seconds left. Hunter Woods is 5 for 10 from 3. Jarrell Satterfield 2 for 4. And Michael Starks, we'll see if he comes out onto the floor. He is out onto the floor. 1 for 5 from 3. Cameron Parker has tried 2 and has missed them both. Hunter Woods will jog into the Portland State backcourt. The Broncos send out Stewart, Napper, Justice, Parker Brown, and Brandon Pajimski. Parker, Hunter Woods, Satterfield, Johnson, and Starks. Fans on their feet here at the Levy Center, cheering on the Broncos. Hunter Woods can run the baseline with 18 seconds left. Broncos 76, Vikings 73. In it comes to Parker. Parker crosses midcourt with 15, now 14. Parker picked up by Stewart. Right side it goes to Hunter Woods. Now back to Parker. Broncos have to keep an eye on the perimeter. Hunter Woods defended by Keyshawn Justice. Hunter Woods going to drive to the basket. An underhand flip for the 2-point basket. 2.9 seconds left. Broncos lead by a point. And now Santa Clara has to inbound here. Parker Brown looking, and let's see, can they get it in here? And it comes to Keyshawn Justice. Keyshawn has it, and he's fouled with 2.1 seconds left. And the Broncos leading at 76-75. Questionable in that after using all that time, Portland State and Hunter Woods opted to go for the 2-point field goal. They did get it. Broncos 76. 75 for Portland State. Keyshawn Justice, 2 free throws. Got the first. Keyshawn's first point of the second half. 2-point Bronco lead, 77-75. 2.1 seconds left. And it comes. And he gets the second. Portland State inbounding in the backcourt. Cameron Parker has it. 1 second. Hunter Woods, a half-court three. It is no good. Off the top of the backboard. And the Broncos escape with a 78-75 victory. And a collective sigh of relief from the Broncos, their coaching staff, and the fans here at the Levy Center. 24 for Carlos Stewart as the Broncos get win number 9 on the season. The Rabbit Office Automation postgame show is coming up. Don't go away. Once again, Broncos 78, Vikings 75. Postgame show after this is Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. You can't.
Palo Alto, San Francisco. KDOW.biz on our mobile app and the Odyssey app.
A service of Salem Media Group.
On the NASDAQ as SALM. It's now time for the Santa Clara Broncos postgame show, presented by Rabbit Office Automation. Rabbit Office Automation and MRC Smart Technology Solutions team up to provide Bay Area organizations with world-class office technology solutions. Contact them at scu@xerox.com. Once again, the voice of Santa Clara basketball, Anthony Passarelli.
Welcome back. We are inside the Levy Center as the Broncos get the victory 78-75 in a nail-biter as the Broncos trailed at halftime 42-38 and they come away with a 78-75 victory. Anthony Passarelli with you on the Bronco Rabbit Office Automation postgame show. Real quick, a reminder, West Coast Sports Institute are the doctors who care for your Santa Clara Broncos, serving the sports medicine needs of the South Bay and located on Lafayette near campus. Visit them today at westcoastdocs.com. Well, coming off the loss to San Jose State over the weekend, Santa Clara did kind of have a hangover from that second half, which saw them give up an 8-point halftime lead, and Santa Clara ended up losing by 9 points to San Jose State. Let's double-check it real quick. By a final of 75-64, 11 points. But in this game, they kind of had that hangover, and Santa Clara came out slow, and they were down 9 quickly. 3 quick three-pointers by Portland State, a good shooting team, one of the top offenses in the country. And Santa Clara did have to fight back. They were able to tie it after trailing by 12 in the first half. At 38, they ended up tying it right before intermission. 2 quick baskets by Portland State, and it was 42-38 at halftime. And Santa Clara just came out the hotter of the two teams. The Broncos worked hard. They got a strong second half from Carlos Stewart and Brandon Pajimski, and they finished, with 78 points, shooting 42% in the second half. But it was Carlos Stewart, it was Jaden Bediako, and Parker Brown really had a strong second half. He had 2 points in the first half and 11 in the second, as Santa Clara comes away with a 78-75 victory. But, that game against San Jose State, it's really how you handle adversity, which is the true mark of a team. And the Broncos, quite frankly, it was a tough loss for them. A crosstown rival, a team they felt they should have beaten, a team they had on the ropes at halftime, but they could not put away. So a slow start to the first half. They picked it up after intermission and come away with a 78-75 victory. Leading scorer Carlos Stewart had 24. Portland State is better than their 5-5 record. They're going to give some teams a problem in the Big Sky Conference, and their next game is just a couple of days away here, but Santa Clara does get the victory, and we will go ahead and go to a break here, and we will say goodbye to our audience on the WCC network as the postgame show continues on AM 1220 KDOW and TuneIn Radio, the premium channel. So for those of you watching tonight on the WCC network, thank you so much. And don't forget, the Broncos will be back Thursday when UC Irvine comes to town at 7 o'clock. We'll have it on the WCC network with the video stream. We'll have the audio from AM 1220 KDOW and TuneIn Radio, the premium channel. Have a great night on the WCC network. Meanwhile,
University